Hi, welcome to the Movie Madhouse. I'm Jason.
I'm James.
And yeah, this is weird because here we are again. We are Robless. I think he's still recovering from CK Expo, which,
Understandably.
completely understandable. But I think it was a successful weekend. I know I had a good time.
Very busy.
Yeah, I haven't heard numbers yet, but I think they have to be pretty happy with it based on what I saw. So,
yeah.
and I haven't seen any negativity online or anything. So, that's got to be a plus.
Yeah.
But
if nothing else.
I know I had a blast, and talking to Mark Ralston was pretty freaking awesome. Meeting Harlan from Shoresy, interesting dude. Picking him up from the airport was a bit of an adventure, but because he went to Toronto for all the way to Toronto, waited. Oh, he's going to Windsor. Okay, so I got Krispy Kremes out of the deal, so it wasn't all bad.
Yeah, that's quite the bonus one.
Exactly. Consolation prize.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I talked to Leilani Shu, and she was really, really interesting. She's in a lot of neat stuff. Been into a lot of neat stuff, a lot of music and stuff.
Yeah, and, I had no idea that she was like a record producer or something.
Yeah, and and then finding out that when she was first cast as a Jawa on The Mandalorian, she didn't know they didn't tell her that it was Star Wars. She had no idea that she was doing a Star Wars. So
no, I've seen interviews about that before with and it's the making of documentary for The Force Awakens. And there were several of the cast members that didn't know that they were auditioning, didn't know that what they had just auditioned for was Star Wars.
Oh, yeah, that's what she said. And I can't remember if she said it was rehearsal or something. Was when she finally started seeing signs go, and then she asked them like, "Are we doing something Star Wars?" Like, so yeah, you sign up for something you have no idea it's Star Wars. That's got to be a bit of a shock.
Yeah.
All right, so we've been sitting on this list for well over a month now. And we are going to let me hit the banner button here. Our top 5 Val Kilmer flicks. I initially struggled with this list, and then I got going through his IMDb, and that one. Got a bunch that I haven't watched in a while, so I caught up on a couple.
I had more than enough, and for several weeks I've been shuffling them around.
Mine has stayed pretty static. I did make a few slight adjustments, and there was one that I wish I would have revisited, but I never did get around to. But we'll see if it comes up in your list, because I'm expecting it might, knowing what this movie means. But let's start with our number 5. I'll let you go first.
Okay, my number. When do we do honorable mentions?
We'll do honorable mentions at the end after we get to one.
Okay.
That way they might come up,
Yeah, it's true. My number 5. Get off the screen. Yeah, my number 5 from 2005, and I'm sure it's higher on most people's and maybe your list, is Kiss Kiss Bang Bang.
That's the one I didn't get to. That's the one I did not revisit.
Admittedly, I haven't seen it in a long time either. Probably a good 20 years, maybe. But yeah, it's awesome. His character Gay Perry is hilarious.
I don't remember much of it. I know I watched it fairly close, like not right when it came out, but fairly close afterwards. The Robert Downey Jr. thing in particular is what drew me in. But I have not gone back to it. I'm quite sure that I liked it, but I have not gone back to it, and that's the one that I didn't get to. So it is in my honorable mentions, but I don't really remember much of it.
I think it was Shane Black's directorial debut, It
Oh, really?
was, yeah, it was a movie they took a chance on for Robert Downey Jr., and it was the movie that got Robert Downey Jr. pretty much the job of Iron Man because
I,
Favreau was a fan of the movie.
yeah, I'd always heard that. Yes, that I did always hear. I know it played a big part in Robert Downey Jr.'s revival. So
But
that's cool.
I always remember the shots from the trailer, the clips of um, the back and forth between Val Kilmer and Robert Downey Jr. He's like, look up the word idiot in the dictionary. You know what you'll find? Picture of me? No, the definition of the word idiot. And like he's counting the bullets. He's like, who taught you math? He just had some great lines in the movie.
Yeah. See, and you know what? I will revisit it at some point. But I just never got to it, even though we had the extra time and everything. I never did get around to it. Um, well, not my number five, and I'm sure it'll be on your list somewhere because it's highly regarded. 1995 Heat.
It is not, and the only reason it's not what it originally was, the only reason it's not is because there's only a very small amount of people in the movie whose roles really stand out. He's got a cool role, but it doesn't really stand out because he doesn't say a lot in the movie.
No,
It's
because he's either drunk or depressed.
this one's more of like an ensemble cast for me.
Yes. Oh, yeah. He's
So,
definitely not the lead in it for at all, but he is great in it. But I forgot just how good that movie was
oh yeah,
because I hadn't watched it since it first dropped. So
really,
I did revisit that one, and it was even better than I remembered. Because I love a good heist movie and whatnot. So it was
yeah.
great. My only problem with it is the climax, is the chase scene at the end, and
Oh, through
that's
the
it
airport.
at through the airport. That's my only problem with it because with the lead that De Niro had on Pacino, there is no way Pacino would have found him for them to come together and him to shoot him. There's no physical way, so they lost me with how much of a lead De Niro had on him. Pacino should have lost him. He should have been lost.
He also did the one thing that he always said he wouldn't do. So he his brain fell out of his head, and
Yeah, see,
he went after Wayne Grow, and because of that, he got caught.
mhm. But and I have no real problem with that. It was just that chase scene, and De Niro should have been able to get away.
Yeah,
There's no way Pacino should have been able to find him like he did, and they lost me at that point. But other than that, the movie's great. The movie is great.
yeah, and at some point they're doing Heat 2.
Really,
Oh
I
yeah,
hadn't
they
heard that.
he. Oh yeah, they've been talking about it for a while, and they like Michael Mann wrote book Heat 2, which has been out for a little while,
How the
and
hell do you do that? De Niro died in the end.
yeah, it's a bit of a prequel and a sequel. So
Oh
you get younger versions of De Niro and Val
no,
Kilmer in them, and I think it continues Val Kilmer's role, although they're very hush hush on a lot of the details.
yeah, I feel like they don't. We don't need it. That does not give me any confidence. We don't need
Well,
that.
they're doing it, so
Yeah, yeah. No original ideas, blah blah blah. Okay, well, let's go number 4, James.
my number 4, couple years after yours, 1997, The Saint.
That is my number 1. Uh,
I'm not surprised. It's a classic.
Again, heist movie, right?
Yeah,
But it to
multiple,
me
multiple.
gets into see, my favorite version of Val Kilmer is when he's playful and having fun.
Yeah,
And The Saint gives that, plus it has some really cool like heisty action, you know. It just his playfulness with the different identities that he takes is and the chemistry he had with Elizabeth Shue. Like, yeah, I absolutely adore that movie. It's one of my favorites, if not my favorite heist movie. I don't know if we've ever done a list of heist movies, but
No, but we should.
we definitely should, and it will be in that list, if not near the top. So
Not to mention a great '90s soundtrack.
yes, yeah, and I like the story that it had,
Yeah,
because it played a little bit with that, science with the whole cold fusion thing, but it was still with well within the realm of plausibility. All of it was.
yeah. And I had never watched the Roger Moore black and white Saint TV show, but
Me either. And don't even consider looking at that remake that they did. Like Netflix did a remake or something
did
recently.
they?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember, if I think it was Zachary Levi.
Oh,
I think I tried to watch it, but it not the same. I think it was supposed to be more akin to the original show, because the movie
uh,
is nothing like the Roger Moore.
can't do it without Val.
So, but yeah, I know that whatever that was didn't feel the same as what this movie gave me. So,
Yeah,
and his backstory, the orphanage stuff and all that. Like, I love that movie. Everything about it.
and he plays all the different disguises really well.
Yeah, I love when he has the first meeting with the Russians, and he's the effeminate like dude in the train station or whatever.
Yeah,
And he goes, I gotta go talk to my boss. And he talks to that old lady sitting at the far table. And then, so you hear him with these different accents and whatnot throughout. But then when he's sitting like in his apartment or wherever he was, and he's talking to the dude, and he's like, yeah, I'm out or whatever. He's talking with like a New York accent.
yeah.
Like,
I think he's putting on maybe not a character, but he's just so nobody knows who he really is.
yeah, yeah. But just he even had pulled off what we would call an American accent in that
Yeah,
moment. Like, he never showed his true self until he was with her, kind of thing. I thought, I
yeah.
just, again, I love it. I love it. I love it. So my number four, like I said, playfulness and whatnot, his first flick, or no, not his first flick. I believe this is his second flick, 1985's Real Genius.
This almost was on it because I love this movie.
I haven't watched it in a while, but I love the hell of it back in the day. So I rewatched it when we first said we were doing this list. That was the first Val Kilmer movie I went back to. And
Nice.
god damn, it's still, yeah, it's cheesy. Yes, it's really, really silly at times, especially there's certain scenes that are just very silly. But
Yeah.
him in it, he's just, again, you could tell he's having fun.
Oh yeah, he's very cool in the movie, but he's a guy you'd want to hang out with.
Yes, yes. And I forgot about the one line when he meets the one girl. She's like the daughter of a high, like I don't know if it's a
What?
government person or whatever. And she
Yeah.
goes, he says, like, he's trying to roll up on her. He goes, well, can you nail a 6-inch spike through a board with your penis? And he says, no, a girl's got to have standards.
Yeah. A bit racy.
uh, yeah, and he's cutting ice to make dimes to put in the slot machine or whatever. Dry ice, actually, it was dry
Yeah.
ice, so that it would just evaporate. You
And they
know,
blow up the guy's house with popcorn.
at in the end, yeah, they redirect the laser to Jiffy Pop his house. Yeah, and nobody else in that movie, I think, did much of anything outside of
Well,
William Atherton.
with William Atherton, yeah.
He's the
Well, and
only other name.
John Grease. The
Right, that's right. I forgot that was Uncle Rico.
Yeah.
I did, I never even put that together. John
Well,
Grease
with the mullet and stuff.
John Grease is like, it's weird. He's popping up. He's popped up in a few flicks that I'm like, oh my god, that's John Grease. I do another podcast with Mike and our friend Steph. It's called Grindhouse Sleaze, where we watch
Right.
cheesy grindhouse movies. Right. One of the
Yeah.
ones we had to watch was shoot, what was it called? I can't remember the name of it now, but it was like early 80s, and it was about like an alien creature being beamed into somebody's satellite dish. And John
Okay.
Grease played like the punk boyfriend to the daughter on there. It was cheesy as all hell, but it was John Grease. And like, that's Uncle Rico. Like, he'll always be Uncle Rico to me. So yeah,
Yeah.
I totally forgot that he was the recluse hermit dude that lived in their closet.
Yeah. His character name escapes me, but it's something
Yeah,
recognizable.
yeah. Again, John Grease. He's everywhere, and I didn't even know it. Okay, so then that's what number 4. So let's go number 3.
Number three. My number three is from 2008. You will not have heard of this.
Okay,
It is a movie called Felon.
Felon.
Felon. It's with Val Kilmer and Steven Dorff, and I guess the only other person you'd recognize, well, Sam Shepard is in there, and Harold Perrineau, Michael from Lost, and it's
Okay,
it's essentially Steven Dorff and his wife. They interrupt a burglary going on in their house in the middle of the night, and he chases them outside with a baseball bat. And on his front lawn, like as the guy's running away, he hits him and accidentally kills him on his property. And so he's sent to prison and then sent to like a maximum security prison. And it turns out it's a prison where they're in solitary like 23 hours of the day, and then the 1 hour they're let out, they're in this little communal area, and all they do is like gladiator fight. It's
okay,
they said it was based on, oh, what was it? Uh, some Corcoran State Prison,
hmm.
and eventually Val Kilmer's character, which I don't know if they just couldn't think of anything, but his name is John Smith in the movie. He's an inmate in San Quentin, and he gets transferred out of there into this prison, and he becomes Steven Dorff's new cellmate. And he's sort of a lifer. He's in there for like multiple murders, and sort of forms a friendship with Steven Dorff's character. And he's sort of like the wise mentor kind of thing. And he has some great lines in there, and he's always very stoic and stuff. But it's a great performance for a little seldom seen movie.
Yeah, not heard of that one, but sounds interesting. Is it actiony or is it more
There's a
dramatic?
lot. It's dramatic with some tension and a lot of prison fight scenes.
Oh, okay. Huh? Felon.
Well,
Yeah,
yeah, they're always the inmates fight, and the guards bet on the fights and stuff, and then break them up when they feel like it. So
hmm, I have to check that one out. That sounds interesting. And I, whatever happened to Steven Dorff? Because I used to dig his stuff back in like the late '90s, early 2000s, and he just kind of disappeared.
yeah, and he kind of went more of the indie route.
Okay, because I always kind of, I want to even say I might have kind of, I don't want to say confused, but him and Christian Slater to me had a very similar look and style to them in a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
They're very similar in their acting styles.
Shoot.
Okay, well, my number 3, and because I can never just pick one thing, and sometimes I have to squeeze multiple in, but I'm going with Top Gun and Top Gun Maverick because
I
they are iconic films.
They are.
Period.
I ended up putting Top Gun in my honorable mentions, and I left Top Gun Maverick off just because he has one his presence is felt, but he has only one very tiny scene.
Yes, but it's still an amazing piece of work. Even his scene is still for what they were able to get out of him. I love it, especially when you take Top Gun, Iceman from Top Gun, and you see what he became. You know,
Oh yeah.
the evolution, the cocky prick that he was in the original. You know, to what he how he and the appreciation he had for Maverick, their bond and everything. Like, I love that dynamic that they'd put together. So
Oh, no doubt.
I had to include it in this list because of that, what they were able to build there.
Right.
And Maverick is will, in my mind, will always be the best sequel ever made.
It might just be.
Definitely the best legacy sequel. With more than 20 years between them, but
Oh
to
yeah.
my mind, it is probably the best sequel to any film.
Yeah, it's not easy to take a cheesy popcorn flick and make a sequel that's Oscar nominated.
Right? Exactly. How often does that happen?
Well,
Outside of Lord of the
technically,
Rings.
technically, the original was Oscar nominated for the song, but this one is like Best Picture nominated.
Right? Yeah. Yeah. That says something.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's go with number two.
Okay, my number two. You may have heard of it. You may
Okay.
not. It's from 2004. It's a David Mamet film called Spartan.
I have heard of that. I never gave it a chance. I remember holding that DVD in my hand multiple times at various either video stores or at a variety store where we would rent from. I can remember
Yeah,
holding it in my hand, but not pulling the trigger on it.
and you should someday because if you've seen any David Mamet films, the dialogue in this movie will not seem weird to you. But it's a great movie, a great spy film, and a great Val Kilmer performance, especially when he wraps his mouth around that dialogue. Uh, he plays a guy named Robert Scott, although that may not be his real name because he doesn't let anyone know anything about him. But and you have the regular cast of characters from Mammoth films. You have Ed O'Neill in there. You have William H Macy, Clark Gregg. Uh, Kristen Bell is in there too, but he's like your go-to special ops guy when the president's I think it's the president's daughter goes missing, gets kidnapped, and he gets tasked to go find her. And then at some point, it's no longer viable for him to go find her, but he does it anyway. So
Hmm.
it's great for his performances, but for his performance and David Mamet's dialogue.
What else? What else is considered David Mamet?
Uh, um, like a directed film or just like written by
Like
him?
when
Because
you're saying
Glenn
Mamet dialogue, I need
oh
an
uh,
idea.
Glenn Ross,
Okay,
Spanish Prisoner.
Glenn Ross. I think I get what you mean when you're talking about the dialogue.
That might be the most
I
well
think I get.
known. Yeah, I think Glenn Ross is the most well known script by David Mamet because it was based on his play, and for the movie, they created the Alec Baldwin role, so that didn't even exist in the play.
Yeah, the always be closing. I do remember hearing that
Oh yeah,
the whole ABC thing was not in the original play. But yet
yeah,
it's the most memorable thing everybody knows from that movie.
oh yeah,
Huh. So, okay, David Mamet in a like a spy thriller kind of flick. All right.
yeah, exactly.
Well, my number two, and this might surprise because there's a certain movie that maybe it's your number one. I don't know that, but it did not make my top five only because I have not watched in a long time, and I know that Kilmer is phenomenal in that movie. But no, I have to go because where does my heart lie? Heist movies. Okay, and this is another heist movie that I haven't watched in a bit, but I go back to all the time. The Real McCoy.
I see. I considered that, but I haven't seen it in a long time. But I used to love it when I was younger.
Oh,
On a
I
side
that
on a
movie
side
just got
note,
me.
David Mamet did do a very good heist movie called Heist that has like Gene Hackman and Danny DeVito and Sam Rockwell in it. So if we do a heist film top five, that might just be on there. Sorry,
Heist,
sorry.
Gene Hackman, Danny DeVito, and Sam Rockwell.
Oh yeah, it's awesome.
When, any idea when that came out? Because goddamn, how did I miss that one?
I don't know. Well, I saw it because I saw the trailer a million times a day because I worked at Rogers, and so I took it home when I worked at Rogers, and then I ended up buying it. That came out 2001.
Okay. Damn, I gotta find that one. That definitely sounds like my kind of flick. But Real
It's a lot of
McCoy,
fun.
the Real McCoy, the whole bank, like it's all about bank robberies. Kim Basinger and Val Kilmer are great together, but they're not romantic. That's a big thing that I really liked about it, is that they don't pursue anything romantic with them. He is
No, they just have a strong bond.
They have a strong bond. He wants to learn from her. Like he's trying to get better at being a bank robber, kind of thing. And
Yeah,
then how they have to screw over Terrence Stamp and stuff. Like,
General Zod.
yeah, yeah. It's another fun heist flick, and Kilmer was great in it because he was a bit of the bumbling newcomer, the rookie and everything, but he really
Yeah.
steps up his game, and how that whole movie played out. I don't know, yeah, another great heist movie that I just adore. I don't know why I get drawn to so many heist movies, but goddamn, yes, we need to do a heist movie list for sure.
Oh yeah.
Because I got a few that one or two that a lot of people have never heard of. I think so.
Nice.
Well, just the two of us. Time this does not take long at all. So we're gonna go to number one, and we already talked about
Damn
mine,
it,
The
Rob.
Saint. Yeah. The Saint is my number one. So what is
Oh
your
yeah.
number one?
My number one, again, you may or may not have heard of this. I knew about this because of, again, Rogers, because they had the best poster for it. I had it on my wall for decades. It is from 2002. It is The Salton Sea.
Oh, I feel like I've heard the title, but I knew nothing about the flick. I would not have known that was a Val Kilmer flick. What is that one?
That one is because this one has like Vincent D'Onofrio and Luis Guzman and Adam Goldberg. It has Anthony LaPalle. It has a great cast, but he's sort of a guy who his wife, I think it's his wife and child, are killed by these corrupt cops, and so he kind of goes into a downward spiral and enters into the underground drug scene, changes his name, and sort of goes undercover, but actually lives the life of an addict to sort of get close to these corrupt cops who use a lot of these drug addicts as CIs and informs, stuff like that.
So does he actually get addicted?
Yeah,
Because I'm picturing kind of remember the movie Rush?
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
picturing something along those lines.
Well, because for most of the movie, I think you're watching, and he's like a druggie, and he's mingling with all these other drug addicts, and all of a sudden you find out that he's sort of been undercover this whole time, but he's really living the act or living the gimmick or whatever.
Wow, Salton
And
Sea. Yeah.
you also have like, what's there? Peter Sarsgaard's in there. Arlie Ermy is in there. There's Meatloaf. Meatloaf is in there. Danny Trejo, Josh Todd from what is it? Buck Cherry. Yeah, it's a great movie that I think I've only seen once or twice in almost 25 years. But yeah, it is a great movie. And he's
Yeah.
also got like one of the best back tattoos in history
Okay.
that you see right on the poster.
Yeah. No, I feel like I've heard the title, but knew nothing about that one at all.
Yeah.
Hmm. Wow, Salton Sea. All right. Well, that's our list. But what is your honorable mentions that we did that haven't come up?
So outside of Top Gun,
Mhm.
Mindhunters. the FBI profiling movie.
Yeah, I forgot he was in that.
Yeah, well, yeah, it's because he bites it quite early on.
Yeah,
That
he was the instructor that had brought them there. That's right. I
yeah,
completely forgot he was in that.
but that's him and Christian Slater.
Yeah, I like that. I remember liking that movie a lot.
Yeah, and the other one, it killed me to cut this off my list, but True Romance.
He's in that one too.
he's he, some people may not realize he's in it, but how well do you remember True Romance?
It's been way too long. I don't
Okay, well,
really.
every time Christian Slater's alone in the bathroom and there's a like Elvis guy behind him talking to him,
Yeah.
that's Val Kilmer.
Oh my God, I forgot that was him. Yes. Oh wow. All right.
And he's just
Uh,
got like the best line, which is like, "I like you, Clarence. Always have, always will." But you never see his face. It's always like very blurred out.
okay. Yeah, it's been way too long since I watched that. Rob would find that sacrilegious, I'm sure. Um, well, I have outside of Kiss Kiss Bang Bang, I have four other honorable mentions. The one I was kind of surprised wasn't on your list, but I'm sure would be on Rob's. And again, I have no doubt that I Val Kilmer is fantastic. Tombstone.
I
Okay,
haven't seen that in so long. He is great in it. That would have been like number one on Rob's list probably.
probably. 1992 Thunderheart.
I see. I've still never seen that.
I know I
My older
watched it a
my
bunch
older
when it came
brother
out.
told me. My older brother told me about that like way back in the '90s, and I still hesitated watching it because I never found it really.
I watched it a bunch. Movie Network. We had the movie channel at that time, so it came up on there a lot. But and I know I liked it a lot. It was a cool mystery kind of detective mystery situation. Him
Yeah,
investigating a murder on an Indian reservation. And it had
Graham Greene.
Graham Greene. Yes, because there's one interaction with them that has stuck with me this whole time, and it's I think their first time they meet. Kilmer's driving, and Graham Greene's like the local sheriff or whatever, pulls him
Yeah,
over, and he says he was speeding. You were doing 55 and a 30 or whatever, and he goes, "Let me see the radar." I didn't use radar. The wind told me 55. Get him.
yeah.
Like
That's the line my brother told me about.
that's. I think that line was profiled heavily and ads for it and stuff. So, oh,
Yeah.
hi, James. You're coming in rather late because it is just the
Hey,
two of us.
James.
And we've already gone through our list completely. So, a little late, but hi, welcome. Um,
I I
if you quickly want to throw up your top five Val Kilmer flicks, we can throw them up real quick. We're just doing honorable mentions right now.
I was almost
Well,
surprised.
yeah,
Sorry,
go ahead.
I was gonna say I was almost surprised that there was one particular Val Kilmer movie that was not in your top five. Maybe it's still in your honorable mentions. Was Jay and Silent Bob reboot?
That is an honorable mention. It had to be, right? It's a chance to reference a Kevin movie. It had to be. Yes,
Yeah.
it is. It is in my honorable mentions. But I also put in Willow because
See, when I finally watched that, I didn't like that at all.
I revisited it. Well, when they announced that series was coming, which I never did
Right.
watch, but when they announced that, I did revisit the movie, and it was better than I expected. Like what I remembered. Like because there's a reason why I hadn't gone back to it, but it was a lot more fun than I remembered. And Kilmer is a great Mad Mardigan. Like he was, again, you could tell he was having fun.
Right.
So he's one that it just shows when he's having fun with a role, you really do get to see it.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's the extent of my honorable mentions. So I guess that's it. Well, again, thanks for coming in better late than ever, James, but we do appreciate you stopping by. Not sure what we've got on the go for next week at this point, but we will get back with Rob and pull him out of his coma that he's probably in right now, and
Yeah.
we'll get it figured out. But until then, for another week, I'm Jason,
I'm James.
and we'll see you next time.
Toodles.
Venom!